Welcome to the Fifth Quarter Sportscast. I'm Jared Judy, and as usual, I'm here with Todd Corley. We made it, buddy. We got it. We got the Week 18. We just finished up the regular season. Now's when the fun starts. We get to the you make your paychecks in the regular season, but you make your legacy in the postseason, right?
That's what they say, Titletown.
Yeah. Well, it's not been Titletown for quite some time, but
that's right. And it won't be if Aaron Rodgers leaves either. But
no, we'll be in the dumpster for quite some time, I fear. But it'll be like the '80s, from what I hear. But
that's right. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again. Learn to live so free. You didn't want to hear some Mr. in this? You say '80s. I go into Mr.
If you anyone out there had that on your bingo board, congratulations. I didn't see that one coming.
Oh, it was coming.
Yeah, so we wrapped up Week 18, and now we're getting into you know what? You never let me down with the sound effects.
Good job, Jamie. Yeah.
Turn that shit off before we get a copyright strike.
That's right. We're getting in trouble today.
We just finished up the Week 18, like I said. Now we're onto the Wildcard round here, starting next week, or this week rather. But we'll start off with the usual poll of the week. We put a poll out here, and let me bring it up. All right, so we got the poll of the week. Which NFL player was their team's impact player of the game? It was kind of a smorgasbord for some of these teams, but I tried to pick some of the teams that actually won. And we got a twofer here. We got Stephon Diggs and Nyheim Hines, both for Buffalo. We got Tyler Algier for Atlanta and KJ Osborne for the Vikings. It's really no surprise. If you take two to the house on special teams, you're probably going to get the majority of the vote. But we got Nyheim Hines with 80% of the vote and Algier with 20%. But I'm kind of shocked that Diggs didn't get any love. With that being said, we'll jump right in here. I went with Hines, given the fact of what the Bills have been through the last week and a half, and then they start out against a division rival, first kick of the game, taking it to the house. I mean, you can only go up from there, right? So with that being said, I got Nyheim Hines for mine.
It almost sounds like a recording every time you pop open one of those Mick Ultras. The choice that I went with was also Nyheim Hines, because 3 years and 3 months, if you're going by this whole 3 thing in honor of DeMar Hamlin, was the last time the Bills returned a kickoff for a touchdown. 3 years, 3 months. It's like Roger Goodell's writing this. He's got the best scripters in the whole business. The second touchdown that Nyheim Hines scored was in the third quarter, and they were down by 3. So, Nyheim Hines, I'll give it to you, baby.
There we go. Yeah, I did catch that in the post game where Alan said it was 3 years and 3 months. I never had any of that. The cranberry kind of turned me off. Is it any good?
Well, whatever it's turning off on you, it's turning on me.
Oh boy, I can see where this is going.
I think I felt it move, Jared.
All right, let's dive in here.
That's not bad at all.
We got some of the highlight games of the week. We can start off with Mahomes in Kansas City. They get their number 1 seed locked up. They knock off the Raiders here, 31-13. They get the top seed, the bye next week. And Mahomes, in the process, passes Drew Brees for the single-season passing yards record at 5,608. I mean, just chalk that up as another record. I mean, the guy's just unreal. The stuff he does out there, I'm not surprised. But, again, it is the Raiders. They're not fighting for a whole lot. We already knew they were going into the playoffs anyway as far as the Chiefs. It was just a matter of what the seeding was going to be. But, yeah, it's good to go out with a bang, I guess, and get into, prime form right when you need it.
God damn it. You say go out with a bang, I instantly think of, homicide, suicide.
Yeah.
Which could be, it's the
exactly,
season. It's
not exactly the route that I was going, but hey, to each their own.
With a bang. God
yeah.
damn it.
But that was the early Saturday game, and then when I mean, there's nothing surprising there really.
This is why we don't drink brown liquor
Yeah.
anymore.
Is
God
that
damn
why?
it, Todd.
The late game, I guess to me was a little bit more intriguing, and definitely kind of screwed me on a few bets parlays that I had going. It kind of down to the last play kind of screwed me. But Jags, they get the win. They clinched the playoffs. Whoever won that game was going to get the seed. So they got the seed. They got the playoff berth here, 20-16. They clinched that division. Derrick Henry had a hell of a game. Finally came back from his injury. Had over 100 yards rushing. Dobbs was okay. He wasn't phenomenal, but Henry was getting it done on the ground. And I picked in a parlay. I picked the under in Kansas City, and I picked Tennessee and the under. And up until about the last 3 minutes, that looked pretty good until Dobbs gets hit from behind in a scoop and score. And not only do they blow the Tennessee money line, but they also blow the under. So that didn't help my parlay any. But regardless, the Jags, they went from, God, I don't know, 32 out of 32 last year with the Urban Meyer experience to playoffs. That's got to be one of the quickest turnarounds for a team that I can remember in near, past.
It's not bad. I also lost my wager on the over-under on Joshua Dobbs' eyebrows. Vegas had the line at 0.5. I took the over. He still has no eyebrows, so I lost.
Did you just take that bet because you kind of felt something,
We're kindred spirits.
You kind of related to him.
I'm not even using the Maybelline anymore.
You can't even notice it.
We've graduated. We've graduated to natural.
Do you think? Do you think maybe Dobbs is sponsored by One Blade?
God, there better be an excuse. That or stress.
I'm sorry, but every time I see his whatever you want to call it, I like to call it a mug shot. But every time you see the shot of him when they come out and they say their school, it's like, oh my God, he looks like one of those Egyptian hairless cats. Every time. I can't help it.
Accurate. He's missing a few wrinkles, but God damn it, he is not missing the hair. He is.
I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for him, but I mean,
but not a bad performance for
he played okay for getting thrown in there. I mean, you could tell he was definitely not starter caliber. I mean, he threw at least one, maybe two picks, and it was just like throw it up in desperation, like just throw it up, and it's just like, oh man, come on, why'd you throw that? So, but
you only fumbled the ball twice.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
Good.
Really, all you got to do is hand it off.
Well, and that's what I don't
give it to the deuce right behind you.
Well, and I don't remember who I was talking to. I said it doesn't even matter who they have at quarterback in Tennessee because if Henry's healthy, you don't have to throw it. You just turn and hand it off, and a guy in a wheelchair could do that. But apparently not. Apparently not, because he got hit from behind and fumbled and scooped and you lose the game. So
sure could use some AJ Brown.
Well, yeah,
too soon.
I think they probably could use a little bit more than that, but that definitely wouldn't hurt at this point because I don't even know if Dobbs would be able to get the ball out to him. But that's neither here nor there because it's not an option.
Chagojim or Conquo?
It's going to be
leading receiver.
I will never, ever be able to pronounce that name.
Leading receiver.
Yeah, and he wasn't even on the radar really at all this year until very late in the season. So I don't follow the Titans, so I don't really know if he was healthy, he was beat up, or he just was non-existent with Tannehill. But I picked him up in fantasy because he had a lot of good matchups late down the stretch. But he came on pretty good at the end. It was a nice safety valve at least. Like we were kind of talking earlier with the cheers of the week. The next game here, the Bills, they just blow the game wide open right from the beginning with a what was it 96-yard opening kickoff. I think. First one
was
I don't even know.
96. Yeah.
Regardless,
what I say? Didn't I call this shit though? I'm pretty sure I said this. You know what? Quote me. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think allegedly Nyheim Hines is one of the 18 listeners that we have out
Possibly.
there. Because when I said, listen, if I'm an NFL kick returner, I'm taking it back. I don't give a shit. As long as it's not at the back of the end zone, I'm taking it. Because none of these return teams, oh my God, everybody's like so quick to concede. Nobody's used to doing a return. Nobody's used to covering it.
Well, and this is just a crazy stat. I mean, obviously, when you take 2 to the house, you're going to have some inflated stats. But his stats for the day: 4 returns, 235 yards, with an average of 58.8, longest 101, and 2 touchdowns. Hell of a day, sir. Hell of a day.
Game.
I don't know that anybody else will match that anytime soon. I mean, those are like Devin Hester numbers back in the day. Like, that's unreal. I didn't get to see that live firsthand. We were out, doing some stuff. We were kind of busy, but I saw the highlight, and I'm like, good Lord, right from the rip. Like, we can already see where this game's going to go.
It's very Josh Cribbs-like.
Yes, that's another one.
That's the only one when it comes to kickoff returns.
Those are the guys you don't kick the ball to. You kick it out of the back of the end zone so they don't get a chance. But yeah, hell of a game from him. But even on top of that, Diggs was his typical ball out self too. He was 7 for 104 and a touchdown. I mean, they let New England get back in it a little bit and made it a little bit of a closer game. But I mean, if you're on the Buffalo side, 10 seconds into the game, you have to be riding high. You have to be feeling pretty good at that point. And you're just like, oh my God, keep it rolling. Like, that had to have been a fun game to play in. And then on top of that, they're obviously playing on a high, getting the news from Hamlin, the team meeting, I think it was, where they had him call in and, talk to the team. Like, that obviously helped. So, but yeah, they just did what they've been doing all year to people and knocking them off.
Team to beat.
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I think we'll get to that here in a little bit, but I think it'll be interesting to see a quote unquote rematch per se in the playoffs if they get that, opportunity to go up against Cincinnati, how that game's going to play out the second time around. Now, granted, they only played 8 minutes into that game, but it'll be interesting to see. Those are 2 hot teams right now. I'll be interested to see that game if it gets to that point. But moving to the next game here, Geno Smith and the Seahawks struggling. They squeak it out in overtime, 19-16, to get the win and potentially at the time clinch playoffs, depending on the Green Bay Detroit game. But with that win, they knock out Detroit. But man, Geno, I think it was the first pass of the game intercepted? Like that. That looked rough. That wasn't pretty.
Yeah, not his typical 2022 season play here.
Yeah. And then what was it? Was it overtime or was it a kick in the regular game regulation where the kicker missed the extra not the extra point, the field goal? I can't remember if it was overtime or regular game regulation, but he missed an extra point or a field goal, one or the other. And it was like, oh man, that might come back to hurt you for as close as this game is.
Don't ever let your kicker decide a game.
No, that's kind of like what we used to say in wrestling, where you don't let the refs dictate the match. You don't let the kickers and the refs dictate the game. But I was very surprised, to be honest, with the way that Kenneth Walker looked in that game. Like, he was a monster. I was kind
Kid is good, man.
I was expecting them to lay it on the Rams a little bit more, and the fact that they let them keep hanging around, like, I don't know. I personally don't see them going that far in the postseason. Especially, it'll be interesting to see how they fare against the division rival third time this year. They got to play in San Fran.
San Fran's rolling, man.
Did San Fran beat them twice already, or did they split? I don't remember. I thought they split.
Let's have Jimmy take a look at that one.
I could be wrong. But regardless, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. But with that defense, I mean, I'll be damned if you're not going to give it the old college try. I mean, we'll see. I see San Francisco winning that game. That's just my opinion. But yeah, to kind of add a little note on top of that, Geno, of all the of all the headlines going around Russ and Seattle, Geno Smith breaks Russ's single-season Seahawks franchise passing record with 42-82 for the season. So that solidifies even more like, yeah, we're good without you. The guy that replaced you, he's actually better than you. If there wasn't a bigger slap in the face at this year, I don't know what it could be.
Well, we'll see if Gino wasn't already married to his high school sweetheart. He could probably bend down Ciara if he wanted to, but he's a gentleman.
Wow, I'm sure Team 3 might have a say in that. Not Russ, but Team 3.
Yeah.
you got to go through Team 3 to get to him.
It wouldn't take much to get to that guy.
No. Just ask the Denver offensive line.
But the Seahawks have lost. They got swept by the Niners.
Oh, they got swept
this season. Yeah,
wow.
They're 0-2.
Oh, soon to be 0-3 potentially. I thought they split for some reason.
No.
I thought when Seattle was riding really high and they were rolling, I thought for some reason they beat them. But wow, all right, 0-3.
No, they actually lost 27-7.
Yeah, that's not good.
Their first meeting.
Well, I mean, hopefully it's at least a more competitive game than that. Third time around, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in the season, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to have much difficulty. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey that first time.
But even when exactly. Even though they didn't have him, look what they did.
Yeah.
I don't know when he got hurt, but I know Boza was hurt at some point during the early part of the season as well. He's playing at full strength. Like, that defense is no joke. The offense is no joke. I don't know. I don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't see how they lose. I mean, crazier things have happened, but I don't see how they lose to them. I
predicted it episode 1. You got CMC and you got BCB, baby.
You
can't lose.
I'll be interested to see it. Now, granted, I don't have a dog in the fight, and I really hate both of those teams, but I really hate San Francisco. So I hope for the upset, not feeling confident enough to throw a bunch of money on the upset, but I'm hoping, but being optimistic and realistic in the same sense. But we'll move to the last game here. As I said earlier, Seattle won over the Rams, and then it came down to the Packers and Lions game. With Seattle winning, obviously Detroit was already knocked out before the game started. However, they're all 8-8. At the time, if the Packers win, they would jump over and leapfrog into the 7th seed. If they lose, then it would go to Seattle. And ultimately, the Packers fell ass backwards into the dumpster, and gave Seattle the 7th seed. I've talked about it all season. They just look like crap. I mean, they looked so out of sync, undisciplined, unmotivated, underachieving. Like, it was, I don't even know where to go, honestly, with this team. But when you see stupid shit like this, and this is just, I mean, we kind of talked about this offline. We talked, at length, not just us, but in general, the media, everybody. This whole week was nothing other than, oh my God, the sports trainers and the medical staff in Buffalo, like, they saved this guy's life. Like, they're amazing. They're essential. And then you see the Packers game, and Quay Walker does the dumbest possible thing, which is the second time he's got into an issue with somebody who's A, not a player, and B, nothing to do with the competition in general. He shoves a trainer. Like, for what? What reason? Like, it's supposedly they said that he was familiar with Swift, played with him. Regardless, what are you doing? You're not medical staff. You can't provide any care. Get out of the way. But I honestly, and I'm sure you probably saw it, if not, you saw highlights. When they threw the flag, I honestly thought it was on Reed with the forearm to the head, because he just came in full guns blazing, forearm right to the helmet, and just blasted Swift's head back. And then they said it was on 7. I'm like, well, what? Oh, you didn't see that on camera. And then they flipped to show that end zone view. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you shoving a trainer? He did it earlier in the season too. I can't remember if it was Detroit or it might have even been Buffalo, where he tackled somebody on the opposing team's sideline, and the coach was like catching him as they were coming to the sideline and was helping him back up, and he turned around and shoves the assistant coach or coordinator, whoever it was. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's just immaturity.
He is undisciplined, immature.
Yeah.
It's stupid, because then what happened is I think they were on like the 40 or 30, something like that. You get a 15-yard penalty, you're thrown out of the game, and essentially you let them go right down the field and score a touchdown, which basically essentially lost you the game.
That was it.
And at the point where you cost your team, but not only that, you were tied. And I don't know if there's any incentives, built into rookie contracts or anything. I doubt it. But he was one tackle away from breaking the all-time franchise rookie tackle record for the Packers. He ended his season at 121, tied with A.J. Hawk for most tackles by a rookie.
Just the way God wanted it.
And you blew it because you decided to go shove a trainer. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, it makes no sense. And then I'm surprised. It's a long tangent, but we'll end it here. I can't believe he didn't get thrown out last week against the Vikings. And I don't know if you remember it, but they had the guy stopped. I don't remember who the Vikings player was. And instead of just tackling him, he took a chance of injuring himself in his back and just picked the guy up off the ground and body slammed him. And of course he got flagged. Then he turned around and acted like he didn't know what happened. What are you doing? Like, just stop doing dumb shit. You're immature. You're a rookie. Is this your first game you've never played before? Come on, this isn't common sense shit here, or it should be rather. But I don't know. I'm just disappointed in the fact that it ended the way that it did, because you see, and God, I could go on for hours, but what the fuck was Rasul Douglas doing? I don't understand what he's doing. I heard his reasoning. He didn't want to get him a free kick to be able to let them gauge the distance and the wind and all that stuff. I get it. I've never seen somebody walk up in between the lines and just grab the ball before the snap. I've never seen it. This is the most undisciplined team I think I've ever watched in the 30-plus years I've watched.
It's kind of the classic, like, you're not going to get it if you don't ask kind of thing. Like, if I'm just like, well, can I have the ball? Nobody's ever thought about doing it that way, but it makes sense to me. Why not?
I did like, I don't understand what the reasoning was. So after the game, I did go to Twitter and type in Rasul Douglas, and one of the first things that popped up was McAfee watching it, and his commentary was point blank on what everybody was thinking. It was something along the lines of, "Hey, anybody ever do this? Here, just come here, give me the fucking ball." I mean, what? I don't get the reasoning. I've never seen it like that, and everybody was. I mean, we kind of talked about that, me and you offline. It almost looked like a Madden glitch, like, oh, his controller died, and the guy's just strafing across the screen, like, oh, I can't control it, the batteries went dead. I just don't get it. Like, it's the shit that I've seen this year from them, I'm not accustomed to seeing from a Packers team. And even if they would have made the playoffs, let's be honest, everybody, all four listeners here, including me and you, so the other two people, easily could have agreed that it was going to be a disaster in San Francisco yet again.
Yeah.
It would have been a massacre, and I would have been annoyed next week. So might as well just get it over this week.
It would have been terrible. Good. You know what? Kudos to the Detroit Lions, right? Because that team, the back 2/3 of their season,
they were on fire.
Dan Campbell,
there couldn't be a better coach for them. Honestly.
Oh my dear God!
I hate to admit it, because I don't like it when the Lions are good, which is very seldom. But God damn, he's turned that team around.
That NFC North is no longer.
It's not a lock for sure.
No longer somebody else's. I'll tell you that.
Well,
right.
and
Dude,
I think as long as Justin Jefferson's in the division, it'll be Minnesota's for a while. But God damn, if Detroit's not going to make a push for it,
dude. I think Detroit. I tell you right now, man. Detroit showed me something. They knocked the Packers out. They weren't laying down. They beat the holy hell out of the Bears. I mean, they the week before.
Then again, everybody did. So that's null and void at this point.
I don't know, man. A 31-point loss at the professional level? Shit, that's impressive. We'll forget about that Panthers loss. I don't understand that. That was with Darnold. That wasn't even with Baker. But they beat the Jets. They beat the Vikings, the Jags. I mean, they beat the hell out of the Jags.
The Packers were leading by like 35 points to the Vikings. Though.
I don't give a fuck about the Packers. Nobody cares about the Packers. You're the only one that listens to the show that gives a shit about the Packers. They almost beat the Bills. Dude, the fucking Lions lost to the Bills by a field goal. The Bills. The Bills damn well might win the Super Bowl.
Well, and that's my thing. I don't know what to I don't know really what to think of the NFC North right now because the only team I'll tell you what to think of it. The fucking Packers are in the goddamn basement. The Packers are fucking trash. The Packers are the worst. The Bears are right behind them by one game. But the only thing that I know for sure,
Aaron Rodgers leaves and Justin Fields. Justin Fields. Listen, his testicles descended this year. I'm telling you right now. Next season. I hope you enjoyed any
it's gonna be bad.
Success that the Packers had because I'll guarantee you next year the Packers are in the bottom. They're not going to shit. It's not even going to be close.
If there's anything I can guarantee this year, it was the fact that, and I said this probably about week 3 or 4. I don't know if I said it to you, but I've said it to other friends of mine. It's going to be a toss up between the Packers and the Bears. Who's the bottom of that division?
Which friends, Jared? Who are you talking to?
Some friends from work. I don't think they listen to this podcast. I don't know why. You could learn a thing or two. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, the fact that the Vikings they've been kind of at the top of this division for the last maybe 4 or 5 years, and Jefferson with him there and Dalvin Cook staying healthy. I don't really see how they fall. I mean, it's not like the Packers are going to give them a run. It's not like the Bears are going to do a damn thing.
Packers are the worst team in the NFC North.
It's going to be
the Lions are coming.
It's going to be the Lions and the Vikings fighting for that division for the next foreseeable future, which is very odd to me.
If the Bears had anything other than Justin Fields, they would be pushing for a second or first.
Speaking of Fields, and we'll get off topic here just for a split second. Did you hear God damn it, what the hell was his name?
Pat McAfee?
No. Oh, what was his name? They were talking about it on ESPN this morning. Tannenbaum. Did you hear his take? Did you catch that?
No, I only listened to PTI.
So Tannenbaum's take was the Bears have the first pick this year. You got Justin Fields. You also have the 4th pick. Is it possible that you trade your quote-unquote franchise quarterback in Fields to get more picks in the first and potentially first part of the second round? Because you got the first pick overall. Take Bryce Young, take whoever the heck you want. You got the pick of the litter. Pick your next quarterback. Because then you have, 2 more years of a rookie? Because I think Fields is going into his 3rd year contract, I think, next year. So you'll get 2 years essentially back as a rookie. You get your first round pick, plus you trade Fields. Let's be honest, you don't have anybody to build around Fields with right now anyway. Take those 2 picks, get your new quarterback, get a lower pay because you'll have another rookie, and get more weapons to build up that team even quicker. When I first heard that, I'm like, if you let Fields go, you're an idiot.
That's absolutely ridiculous. That's what I'm thinking.
But then when you think about it, it's like, well, what good is Fields if he's the only one on the field that's any good? I don't know. It's an interesting take. I definitely wouldn't do it. That's just me. I don't know. You know what you have with Fields. It's hard to give that up when you have another quarterback, hypothetically Bryce Young or whoever the hell they take, C.J. Stroud. I don't know. You're back at we hope he has potential, but we don't know. You know what you have in Fields. And if there's anything we've learned, if you have a guy, you don't give him up. It's that simple.
Dude, that guy single-handedly kept you in games. I mean, he broke rushing records. But that's because he was running for his goddamn life.
The guy had 150 average rushing yards. Rushing, not passing, just rushing yards every single game. Like,
Do you know
if you
how?
didn't have him, you would have
Ugh.
won 0 games.
I mean, golly, man. If anything, you trade down. I'm sure the Colts would love to get a quarterback because God knows they don't have one. Trade down.
Are they even going to be able to get out of Matt Ryan's contract, though? Or are they just going to pay Matt Ryan to be on the bench? That's a hefty pay, for a bench guy. I mean, granted, I wouldn't think they
Not
would have
heftier
gotten.
than taking 14 losses next year.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought they would have got. I never would have thought that they would have got out from underneath Carson Wentz's contract. So I guess anything's possible. But Wentz is a hell of a lot younger than Ryan.
If I'm the Colts, I'm doing something to move up to get a quarterback.
You have
But
to. You have to. You know what you have with Ryan, and it ain't it.
And the Bears, God, the Bears, they got Fields. I don't know, man. I would build an offense. I don't know.
You need some offensive line, is what you need.
They need somebody to save his ass.
He's essentially getting his ass handed to him every single
Get a
play.
receiver, get an O line.
So even if you had a
there.
good receiver, there's no way he'd ever be able to get the ball to him anyway. He's getting his ass handed to him every single play.
You got to protect him, man.
I mean, granted, as a Packers fan, I'm fine with him getting killed every play because that means they're not putting points on the board. But my God, that's a waste of talent. I feel bad for him because he's just getting killed every play. He reminds me of Joe Burrow in Cincinnati last year, getting his ass handed to him 7, 8, 9 times a game. Like, how long do you think your career is going to last? It's going to be a rough career. They have to get an offensive line. They have to. But
I'm hoping. I never fault a team for drafting O-line. Ever.
No. Well, and I even, even at the second and third grade flag level with, my son's league, I tell them that, everybody wants to be the quarterback. Everybody wants to be the receiver. They want to be the running back. I tell them point blank, day one, off-season conditioning. Raise your hand. Who here knows where the game is won and lost? Quarterback, nope, wrong. Receiver, nope, wrong. Running back, wrong. It's won in the trenches on the offensive and defensive line. If you don't have a good offensive line, you don't have a team. It's that simple.
That's it.
If you don't have the offensive line, the running backs aren't getting holes. You don't have the offensive line, quarterback's not getting the time to throw the ball. It all starts right at the line. It's not a glorious job, but it's where the game's won and lost. So
you gotta have it, man.
You might have the receivers, quarterbacks, and running backs getting all the highlights and accolades on ESPN and SportsCenter, but guess what? Those receivers, quarterbacks, and running backs, they know how they got to that point. I mean, it's just that simple. But we'll kind of put a bow in this one after this. But Jamal Williams, as we mentioned, the Lions have been rolling all season, and they've been getting more prolific as the year goes on, it seemed like. But Jamal Williams, he didn't necessarily always have the most yards in the games, but anytime he touched the ball, it seemed like he was falling in the end zone. But he did pass Barry Sanders' franchise single-season rushing touchdown record at 17. So, hey, it's definitely good company to be recognized with. So, I mean, you didn't make the playoffs, but hell, take that for what it's worth. That's a hell of an accomplishment. You just put your name up there with Hall of Fame royalty. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. But we'll move on to some breaking news here real quick, and then we'll get into some bets and how much you've lost so far.
All of it, everything, Jared. All I've got is the last 3 beers from that New Belgium, whatever the hell it is. That's all I got. And a cat that eats me at a house and home.
But I don't know if it was either yesterday or earlier today. The news came out that Baltimore decided to reap the benefits and the riches of the Chicago Bears, giving Roquan Smith a 5-year, $100 million extension contract. Hey, he sucked it up and did everything he could for Chicago, and Chicago basically let him walk out the door. He goes to Baltimore and gets paid. So hey, Chicago doesn't want you, go somewhere else. Break bank there. So he gets paid. But staying with the Ravens,
hate him.
Yes, that's established. But not that you care. But I don't even know what to expect from them because they've been hanging on by a thread just to sneak into the playoffs. And then supposedly Lamar hasn't practiced in 6 weeks, I think it's been.
They'll be watching. They'll be watching divisional round from home.
Yeah, well, who was the second string guy? I can't even remember now.
Huntley.
Is it that Huntley? Yeah. What happened to him? Is he hurt now too?
I don't know. I think it's
because they had
been 28 days.
They had some guy. They had some guy. Rewind to our first few episodes, if in case you're new to the podcast.
He's anemic. He's lost a lot of blood.
They had, I think it's Anthony Brown or something, and I was looking at stats. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like, there's a lot of teams, and we'll kind of get through that here in a little bit. There's a lot of teams that are firing on all cylinders coming into playoffs, and there's a few teams like just barely like crawling into playoffs, and it's like it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I don't see, if Lamar hasn't practiced for 6 weeks and he still hasn't practiced yet, I don't see how he's gonna play on. Is it Saturday they play?
They play on Sunday. Okay. They're the night game on Sunday.
I don't see how he's gonna play still, and even if he is, how effective is he gonna be if you haven't played in almost 2 months?
I don't think it's gonna matter.
No, I don't.
I think you shit.
I don't think
you could have Trent Dilfer back there.
You could have the Jets trade Joe Flacco back over there.
Testaverde, maybe.
Yeah, go even back further.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, it doesn't matter. The Bengals are going to win that game.
I think their days are numbered, but
I hope they are. God, I fucking hope.
So it's week 18, as we already established earlier, in the beginning of the episode. So as with every season, the day after the season, they call it Black Monday. That's when teams that are out of the playoffs start, fire sale, start burning it down, start firing everybody. So as of right now, I don't, I'm still kind of keeping tabs on Twitter and seeing what I can come up with. But there's been, I think, 5 head coaching vacancies as of right now, and a few handfuls of coordinators open jobs. But Arizona, they're burning that thing to the ground. JJ Watt retires. Kingsbury just got a extension, was it this offseason? And his ass is out the door, so he's getting paid for the next 3-4 years, whatever it is. Kyler Murray just got paid, but he's on the IR. Probably until at least midway through next year. And then you got, whether it's either from him or from the franchise, Hopkins, he wants out. They're looking to possibly trade him. Their GM steps down due to health reasons, and then he's no longer coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Arizona. But that there's not been any, official I guess, statements, but I think we could be looking at a similar thing in the division with the Rams. God only knows what could happen with McVay. Is Aaron Donald coming back? Stafford said he's coming back, but Bobby Wagner's not getting any younger. There could be a lot of change in half of that division, and San Fran's only getting stronger. But
the one staple in LA is number 17. Baker Mayfield's here to stay, ladies and gentlemen.
It's really all you need. It doesn't matter what else happens in that division as long
all
as
it took was Mayfield getting there to knock out the Super Bowl champ coach, the defensive MVP. He might retire. Stafford's like, well, I mean, my days are numbered because we got this kid in here, and he got a sweet headband, and that guy's like, he's like 6'8". Baker, unofficially, I think Baker Mayfield's up to 6'8" in your programs, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's be honest, Baker Mayfield. Can we apples to apples, apples to oranges, however you want to look at it? Can we just
watermelons to crayons at this point?
Yes. Can we extrapolate that the arrival of Baker Mayfield with the Rams forced J.J. Watt into retirement?
You know what?
Is there a correlation?
Listen.
He's like, well, hell, if this guy's here, we're not going to win. I'm out.
I'm a man of science, okay? You can't say, nobody can definitively say.
Look at the stature of him.
J.J. Watt didn't retire not because of Baker Mayfield.
He's
I
probably
think we
just
can all agree.
astonished. He's probably just astonished by, oh my God, look at this quarterback. I'm looking eye to eye. I can't
Just
compete
saying.
with him.
I'm just saying. Science.
Oh man. But to move on with the coaching carousel.
Baker Mayfield is the Dan McGuire of NFL quarterbacks. He really is. He's Mark McGuire's illegitimate little brother who's like 6'8", just God-given talent, off the chart skills, immeasurable. Just
it's an interesting way to describe him. I never would have expected that from you.
Anybody who's listening is probably Googling who the hell Dan McGuire is. Go ahead and look him up.
Yeah, he's not small.
They're like the same person, I think.
It's
both equally good at football. Oh shit!
They both have an equally.
They're eye to eye.
Sure, I was going to say they equally have a comparable stature, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Oh Jesus Christ! The pride of San Diego State. Yeah. You thought it was Marshall Faulk. I say nay. I say it's Dan McGuire. You know what? Dan McGuire lives inside of Baker Mayfield's shadow. Okay?
That's literally twice I've heard a Dan McGuire analogy today, and I never would have thought I would have heard that. Huh?
Get the fuck out of here today. Huh?
Yeah.
Are you counting twice in this show?
No.
There's no goddamn way you heard Dan McGuire at any point earlier.
100%. Go back. You're not going to like it, but they were actually comparing the performance-enhancing stuff because they were talking about with Hopkins, like our team's going to look down on the performance-enhancing stuff or whatever. God. And then they started talking about, athletes that had performance-enhancing and their careers just went off the wall. And everybody, applauded them. And so they brought up Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa on the McAfee show. And then I don't know if it was AJ or somebody was like, well, fuck McGuire. Have you seen his brother? So that's two today.
That's nuts.
I should, I need to play the lottery today because I never would have thought I would have heard a Mark McGuire brother comparison at least once, let alone twice in the same day.
Absolutely bonkers. You really should. You should go plug holy God. I don't even know what numbers to put in there. What number did he wear? Was he number 10? I can't. I know he was 6'8".
Man,
that much I know.
If he's number 17,
he was 6'8", but I don't know what number that sumbitch wore.
If he was number 17, I'm playing 17 on the lottery.
No, he was 10. Number 10 in your hearts. Number 10 in your programs too. He may have been like 53 in your hearts. I don't think he was that good. I think he was forgettable. Except for this guy. I was a football fan in the 90s, and I remember that guy being great. I remember, what was it? Oh God, there's a football card that I remember seeing him on that I had. That was it was classic. It was classic sports. There's a classic sports card. It was really nice. It had him on there. I thought he was going to be the second coming of Jesus.
How'd that pan out?
I'm glad I only had one of them.
Yeah.
I do. Looking back, since you asked, you brought it up. You took us down this rabbit hole. I do regret one summer spending $1,500 on Charlie Fry cards.
Oh my God, that was probably the worst investment ever.
Those
actually have to have diminished in value by now.
The crippling financial debt Charlie Fry's brought on me.
We like to do questions on this podcast. What's worth more, the current price of Bitcoin or the Charlie Fry cards? You got to go with Bitcoin. Even
the only positive on this one is the fact that Charlie Fry autograph cards are tangible, and Bitcoin is still fictitious. True. It doesn't actually exist. However, Charlie Fry is actually officially he has come into some fortune because he's now the official offensive coordinator of Florida Atlantic University.
Well, he's got to have more
street cred.
Than Then Bernie Kosar, now with the betting, he got kicked out.
Oh God! Don't ever gamble,
I
ladies and
saw
gentlemen.
that.
If you're
that.
technically an employee of an NFL team, Jesus Christ, ask Calvin Ridley. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Just whatever you do, don't do it. I don't care if you're hurt and you're bored. Sports betting has recently become legal in your state. Hashtag Go Bucks. Don't do it. It's only going to cost you your whole career. But as my buddy said, the guy owns a fucking steakhouse in a casino. I don't understand. I mean, there's a Bernie Kosar steakhouse in Northfield Park.
Well, supposedly the rumors were, from what I was reading online, granted, you take it with a grain of salt, supposedly he was betting on something.
It was the Browns beating the Steelers.
Yes.
He bet $19,000 on it. And it was going to go to charity.
Correct. But he was using like the company's Wi-Fi or something, and that's where they frowned on it. Like, who the hell cares?
Well, I know he talked about it on the radio or the podcast. He talked about it on the radio. And he said he was going to, and he said he bet 19,000. Well, it doesn't matter. You can't bet. You're not allowed to gamble. Like you can't do it. It's, I don't know, man. I don't understand the world. Nothing makes sense. I want the red and the blue pill. I want to know what happens when you take them together. Like, do you have to? Why do you have to commit? Like, why do you have to go red or blue? Can't you just take them both and see what happens?
Oh my God, we're getting into the weeds here. Let's finish this up. So to continue with the coaching carousel here.
The Matrix is real.
Houston,
go Texans.
Houston. I mean, that thing was a disaster for them.
They were competitive. You know what? But say what you will.
They almost beat Dallas. I mean, let's be honest.
They didn't. They were the fucking best one and a half win team I ever did see.
They canned Lovie Smith, which I can't think of the last time
My favorite.
I can't think of a team that I've seen that cans a coach after the first year coming into somebody else's roster. I've never seen that.
Do you know what I loved the most about that? This was poetic justice is what this was. Lovie Smith, former player, right? Mm-hmm. Former coach of the Chicago Bears, goes in, knows he's getting shit canned by the Texans.
And then he says, I think I'll be here next year.
Coaches them to a win. Says, fuck you, we're going for 2.
Yep.
We're going to get this W because guess what? Chicago's getting that number 1 pick. We're going to give Chicago the number 1 pick because my heart's in Chicago, but my ass is getting paid in Houston. That was the greatest. That was my favorite moment, I think, of the entire NFL season.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm actually kind of shocked. I mean, granted, Houston was bad. But what did you expect when you let your whole roster go to crap? Like, what did you expect? But I'm still kind of shocked they canned him after 1 year. Like, he didn't even get a chance to even get his draft in there. Like, that was kind of shocking.
He had a trophy beard. He really did. You're not going to talk about it. I'm going to say it. That man.
He never had it when he was with Chicago. He never had it then.
I'd hire Lovie Smith.
But
I would take him.
And
maybe the Browns could get Lovie Smith as their defensive coordinator.
Well, to kind of piggyback off of that, there's, like we said, there's 5 teams currently with head coaching vacancies. There's plenty of coordinators, I'm sure. We don't know all those. At least I personally don't. Carolina, Indy, Houston, Denver, and Arizona. Supposedly there's rumors going around about Sean Payton and
Denver.
Yeah. What the hell was his name? The former Denver coach. The coordinator. The defensive guru, Fangio.
Vic Fangio.
Supposedly he was trying to get him, on board as part of his staff, but I don't see him going back to Denver. But then supposedly there was, would he go to Arizona? But I don't see how him and Kyler are going to mesh. That seems like a disaster waiting to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if he went out to L.A. if McVay stepped down and went to the booth. I wouldn't be surprised if he went out there because then you got a veteran quarterback that, already knows the game. But I don't know. But supposedly that's a rumor. And then of all people talking about Bears and former coaches and everything, Did you hear the reports that Jim Caldwell's name's getting floated around again?
Jesus Christ, no.
He was supposedly meeting with.
Who
was he meeting with? I think he met with
Caldwell.
Denver. I think he met with Denver, which God knows Denver's meeting with everybody. I think it was Denver. I think it might have been. I think it might have been the Colts again, which I've never understood these teams that have winning records and can their coaches. Chicago, Lovie Smith had a winning record. They went to the NFC Championship, I believe, but lost to Green Bay, and they canned him. I think they went like 10-6, and they canned him. Jeff Caldwell led the Lions, I believe, to the last playoff appearance, and they canned him. Like, how do you get canned when you win and you take your team to the playoffs? How do you get canned? Like, I don't get it. But yeah, I never thought I'd hear the name Jeff Caldwell again. That was an interesting one. But yeah, I know the Browns DC they let him go. I think the Jets OC LaFleur, I think they let him go.
He did.
I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, at least as we're currently recording. But I don't remember who. I briefly saw on Twitter, but I can't remember who they were interviewing. Somebody. I saw a report that Cleveland was interviewing somebody, and I can't think of who it was now off the top of my head.
Schwartz for defensive coordinator.
Jim Schwartz?
They were He was there before. Before.
Hey, you can have the Keebler elf. That's not the name
Dude,
I heard, though.
He was there before.
Somebody else.
He was one of the schlappies for Bill Belichick back in the day. Schwartz has been there.
There was somebody else I had heard, and I can't think of who it was now, but that's not the name I heard. I don't know.
That was who they were talking about for DC.
Well, who knows?
All I care about is what I really want to know is, and people have been talking about, there's been a lot of speculation in the media lately. What I was really wondering, all of our listeners want to know, is Jimmy McGinty considering coming out of retirement and going back to coach the Washington Sentinels?
You know, as soon as you geared up for this, I knew it was going to be complete bullshit. It was going to be nothing relevant to the conversation.
100% relevant. Are you fucking kidding me? There's nothing more relevant than cinema, you son of a bitch.
See, I was going to ask, is there a potential chance that Stefanski's out?
No.
Because
he'll be here forever.
Obviously they're not letting Watson go. Not after the money they just sunk into him.
Let him go. Jesus Christ, he only played 3 fucking games.
Well, I'm not saying that, but look at the contract they gave him. They're not letting him go. So Stefanski's not gotten it done the last couple years.
Deshaun Watson's fucking amazing.
Now, granted, he had a midget there before that, so. But I just am curious because usually when you see somebody start letting all these people go, usually the coach isn't too far behind. And God knows, and we both know that Cleveland has a running carousel of coaches and quarterbacks.
I want money, Jared.
Well, with that being said, let's flip topics. Let's get into the money making business, the betting and wagering here.
Oh my God.
We put some money on the parlay for the Packers and the Lions game for Jamal Williams to score a touchdown and Aaron Jones to get 40 yards rushing and receiving. Jamal Williams I felt pretty good about, but Aaron Jones I did not feel good about. But luckily he got 48 yards, so that one hit. But is there any? I don't know what other. I didn't really do any other wagers. Is there anything that you hit that really kind of panned out from the past week that you can think of?
I'll tell you what really hit. It wasn't pro, but it was college. The college football championship. Yeah, baby. I went. I put $50 on Georgia on the money line.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I missed it. We already talked about that.
Yeah,
offline.
boosted odds, baby.
I'm glad I missed the kickoff of that because I was strongly considering TCU, and thank God I missed the deadline for that one. Jesus.
Yeah, and gambling is a fickle beast. I don't know. Kids, don't do any of this. Is a PSA. Don't do any of those pre-made parlay setups.
They're made
on
for a reason.
DraftKings, FanDuel.
They're made for a reason.
Don't do any of those. Unless you got some free money you want to just piss away. because
if that's the case,
you're
if
gonna
that's
lose.
the case, and you want to, give away money,
Oh God, I want another one.
5thhqsportscast@gmail.com. Feel free to send it over to us. We'll gladly take
send
your
you.
money.
I'll send you a picture of my feet to counteract everything.
Yeah,
It'll be fine. People do this all the time. Oh my! Oh man, I won another one, dude. Oh my God, what else did I win, bro?
Did you win that nickel bet?
I don't even. How much have I been gambling? I'm not gonna full disclosure. Since about week 4 of the NFL season, my life has been a drunken stupor. I've ballooned up to an all-time high in weight. I don't know what's happening. I think I'm an alcoholic. I think I have cirrhosis, probably some sort of hepatitis, A, B, C, D, or F. I don't one of those two. And
Well, as long as you get above an F, that's a passing grade. So.
C's get degrees is what they always say. So hepatitis C, or as my doctor calls it, hepatitis. Yes. He's Spanish. He laughs every time I make that joke, but he only speaks Espanol. But I've been winning all these bets. I don't even know what's going on right now, Jared. I hit a 5-leg NFL parlay, and then I don't even know this. I haven't checked my balance. I hit a 4-leg NCAA championship parlay. I didn't even know I hit it until right now, live on the air. This is crazy train. I'm in the money. I'm probably quitting this because I've got real money coming in. So this is going to be the last episode you ever hear me on. I gotta go play some wagers.
Well, and he's out.
He left the goddamn studio.
He walked out of the building.
Oh my God. I'm rich, bitch.
Well, with that being said, let's wrap this up. We'll quickly
always take the under, Jared.
Well,
before you give our sign off, always take the under.
That's what I'm hearing. Let's run through the real quick, though no in-depth analysis, just kind of what we expect. Run through the wild card games real quick.
Yep.
On Saturday, we got Seattle at San Francisco. I think we both agree Seattle is going to come up short on that one. San Francisco, I see you taking that one.
Segue here. Will San Fran cover the spread? 9.5 favorites.
I don't think so.
9.5 is a lot for an NFL team. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say? Yes. I'm going to say they're going to cover it. I'm going to say take San Fran to cover. They're going to win by 10 or more. San Fran.
It's fair. That's fair. Saturday night, we got Chargers, Jaguars.
Oof.
I don't know what to think on this one. Jags have been hot down the stretch, but then they struggled against Tennessee. Chargers, I don't know the status yet of Mike Williams, but that's a huge blow if he's out. But Eckler, you still got Eckler. He's a monster. So I don't know. I don't know what to think on this one.
Chargers 2-point favorites.
Personally, I'd like to see the Chargers pull it out personally.
I'd like to see Justin Herbert actually do what I know Justin Herbert's capable of doing. If his testes drop, good for them.
I'd love. I don't know, man. I'd love to see him and Eckler get to the next round. I'd love to see that.
I would. Oh, you know what? Give me the Jags. I'll take the Jags.
All right.
I'm calling the Jags.
Sunday early game, we got the Dolphins at the Bills. Now, granted, if we revisit the earlier episode, I picked the Dolphins, I believe.
You took the Dolphins.
That also was with Tua playing really, really good at the time, but yeah. I don't think he's gonna play. I think he might have already been actually ruled out. I don't think I'm gonna come up with that pick here. I don't see how they beat the Bills. Even with Tua there, I still don't see how they beat the Bills. So I think I'm gonna be obviously wrong on that one.
I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't know if I've ever seen an NFL playoff game with a larger spread. Bills are favored in this one by 13 points.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Seattle and San Fran was pretty hefty, but it's going to – I'll put it this way. If the Dolphins pull this out, then that means Tyreek Hill is going to have a career day. If he doesn't, they have no shot.
Dolphins, there's no chance in hell Dolphins win this game. No
No,
chance in hell.
I don't.
I'm honestly, I'm honestly thinking Bills win by. I think Bills cover the spread.
I mean, I could easily see him winning by 17.
Yep, that's what I put it at.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Bills by 17. Lock it in.
All right, let's move to the mid-afternoon game, Giants-Vikings. Granted, I picked the Vikings early on as well. I would love to see the Giants win because, for obvious reasons, I hate the Vikings. But, man, I don't know what to think of this. The Vikings.
I'll tell you what to think of it, Jared.
The Vikings of late have been so bipolar. I don't know what to – I don't know. It depends on what Vikings team shows up. If Kirk Cousins, that was all iced out, and, Justin Jefferson's on his game, this could be a runaway freight train.
Kirk Thuggins.
If not, Kirk
Thuggins.
If not, that defense is not that great. Their offense is good. If Saquon gets going, this could be a steamroll the other way.
Don't think too hard about it, Jared. Vikings, 3-point favorites. Guess what? That's a home field right there. It doesn't matter. Giants are winning this one. I take the Giants. You got this. Giants straight up.
I'll say the Giants as well. I think the Vikings are just too bipolar, and I don't know what to expect. I think they're not going to be able to take it. I think
Vikings have been exposed. Vikings aren't. They're not good. I'll tell you right now, they're not nearly as good as their record shows.
No. Well, I mean, when you look at it, you beat up on. We've already discussed it, but you beat Chicago and Green Bay both twice. Well, Green Bay once, but you beat Chicago twice. So 3 of your wins have came from crap teams. So take it for what it's worth.
That's right.
Late game, and this, again, I don't see how this doesn't go the way that everyone expects it. You got Ravens and Bengals, 8:15 Sunday night. I don't see a way the Bengals lose. I just don't.
Bengals, 8.5-point favorites.
Even if Lamar plays,
Lamar Jackson doesn't. It doesn't matter. He's a non-factor. It doesn't matter.
I still don't see how they lose.
No, it's not happening.
You got the Monday game. Monday night, Dallas, Tampa Bay. We already know what your pick is.
That's kind of hard to fight destiny, isn't it?
I think Dallas is going to take him.
Dallas is a 2.5 point. Is it 2.5 points?
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5 favorites on the road at Tampa.
I think Dallas will take them. I think it's going to be close. It might be a 1-point game, 2-point game, but I think Dallas will pull it out. Now, granted, I think they're going to get stomped the following week, but I think Dallas will take them.
You got to dance with what you brung there, Jared. And I took the Buccaneers to this date, and I'm going to go home with Tampa Bay.
All right.
Tampa Bay straight up.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that'll wrap up the picks here for Wildcard. We'll revisit this and see how we fare next week. But that'll wrap up another episode here on the Fifth Quarter Sportscast. Download, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. You want to interact with us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
Don't forget our GoFundMe account. We have a GoFundMe.
Oh, we do. Did you set that up?
No.
Oh, that must have been Jamie.
I had somebody offshore set it up, so I didn't get in trouble legally.
Oh, fair enough. Anyway, you can interact with us. I don't know what the GoFundMe address is. You'll have to talk to Todd here. But 5THQ Sportscast. Yeah, until then, go watch some football, enjoy the weekend, make some bets, win some money. And we'll come back here next week and break down the wild card round and see how we fared on our bets.
8th anniversary. Des caught it.